Welcome to this, the fifth of 6 videos, which deals with the Introduction to Music Fundamentals. In this video, we're going to look at how to apply meter to musical examples, but we're also going to learn a couple of extra things. So we're going to start with the extra things. In music, we have a number of symbols which tell us what to do with a rhythm. If you look at the screen now, you'll see 2 examples with exactly the same notated rhythms in them. They're both in 6/8, which is a compound time, which we learned about last time. It means that there are 6 quavers in the bar, but there are 2 dotted crotchets in a bar. Okay, if you look at the end of the first example, you'll see that there is a thick line and a thin line and 2 little dots next to each other. That symbol indicates when you get to that point that you should go right to the beginning of the piece and repeat it exactly one more time. So I'm going to clap that first example for you, and so that you can see exactly how it works. Okay, here it comes. Now repeat. So that gives us one full performance of that piece. It says, repeat exactly what you've done the first time for a second time.
Kulesibonelo sobe sikhuluma ngokuphinda kwemculo owenzayo. Inkomba isikhathi engxube leso besixoxa ngayo. Umculo njengoba uhamba uze uyofika kulo layini lo ongathi umnyama, kuba ulayini omkhulu kuba umncane bese kuba namachishazana amabili. Njengoba uhamba umculo uma usufika kulo amalayini uyaphinda futhi uyoqalela phansi.
Now look at the second example, which has a slightly different series of dots. If you look in the third bar, you'll see that it starts with the 2 little dots and it ends with the 2 little dots. When you have something like this, it means start at the beginning of the piece and play as normal until you get to the end of that third bar. Then return to the beginning of the third bar and repeat it again. Let me demonstrate. So here I'm starting at the beginning of the piece. Now I repeat, carry on. So only that one bar is repeated in this case because it has a repeat sign at the beginning and at the end.
Kulesibonelo sesibili uhamba uze uyofika kumgumbu wesithathu bese uyaqhubeka uya emuva futhi bese uqalela phansi uze uyoliqeda ke iculo futhi.
This diagram will probably help you to understand what's going on more clearly. If you look at the red line, you'll see that it goes all the way up to the end of the second repeat sign, where it says end repeat sign. The green line tells you where to go. It goes back to the beginning repeat sign. And then you continue as if nothing had happened. So you're only repeating those 2 bars in the middle, nothing else. Here is a different example of repeats, which we haven't come across before. You'll see that above one of the bars is a bracket that has a number 1 in it, and then another bracket with a number 2. What this means is start the piece and go all the way to the repeat sign. Okay, that's the first time. Then go back to the beginning and start again. But when you get to where it says number 1, you leave out everything under number 1 and go directly to number 2. So if you look at the blue line at the very bottom, you'll see that there's a gap there. You leave it out and go straight to the second time bar. These braces above the music are called first time and second time braces.
Lesibonelo lesi sizokukhombisa indlela ezimbili ezokuqeda iculo. Uma uyabheka umgamo wesibili uno number 1 phezulu kwawo. Kuchaza ukuthi uma udlala usaqala iculo uze uyofika la kudlala khona unumber 1 uzoze uyofika kulo line bese uqalela phansi. Mase usuqalela phansi usuphinda kwesibili uzobe ungasawudlali umgamu wesibili uzobe usuya kumgamu wesithathu uze uyoqeda.
So I'm actually going to clap this example for you so that you can see how it works. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 so that you can hear the underlying beats. It's in 6/8 time, which is compound time. It means that we're dealing with 2 dotted crotchets per bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In class, you will also clap this example so that you can see exactly how it works. The first time and second time braces look like this on their own, but they are always with a repeat sign in between them. Now let's come back to this family tree of notes that we've been looking at for quite a few weeks now. Look at the top, you'll see that there is a semibreve. It divides into 2 minims. Each minim divides into 2 crotchets. Each crotchet divides into 2 quavers, and each quaver divides into 2 semiquavers. But there is a slightly different family tree when we are dealing with compound time. Now remember, compound time is where the pulse divides into 3. So look at the middle line where there are dotted crotchets. Do you see that each dotted crotchet can divide into 3 quavers? All right. Now, if you look at that line, the whole line of dotted crotchets, you'll see that 2 dotted crotchets equals 1 dotted minim. 2 dotted minims is equal to 1 dotted semibreve. And if you look down at the 4th line where there are quavers, you'll see that each quaver divides into 2 semiquavers. So it's only the middle line, the crotchet line, that actually divides into 3. All of the other lines are still divisible by 2. So dotted crotchets divide into 3 quavers, but all of the others can still divide into 2. This is called the compound time note value family tree. Let's see what that actually means. So if you look at the time signature 2/4, the bottom number tells us we are dealing with crotchets. The top number tells us that there are 2 crotchets in the bar. Each crotchet can divide into 2. If you look at 6/8, it tells us that the 8 tells us we're dealing with quavers. The 6 tells us that there are 6 quavers. But remember, I've told you that the quavers are the beats and the dotted crotchets are actually the pulses. So we've only got 2 pulses in the bar. They are dotted crotchets. So 2/4 and 6/8 both only have 2 pulses in the bar. But in 2/4, the pulse divides into 2. In 6/8, the pulse divides into 3. So we talk about them as being simple duple, that's 2/4, and compound duple. Duple means 2. We can go down for the rest of them in that table. Simple triple, 3/4 time, it means that there are 3 crotchets in the bar. The crotchets are the pulses. In 9/8 time, the pulses are dotted crotchets, and there are 3 of them. So they are both triple time. One is simple triple, the other one is compound triple. In simple triple, the crotchets divide into 2. In compound triple, the dotted crotchets divide into 3. And the same is true of simple quadruple, 4/4 time, and compound quadruple, 12/8 time. Do you want to add in? All right, now we deal with something called triplets. Occasionally, composers want to suspend simple time and make it appear as though we are working in compound time. So usually a whole piece is going to be in simple time, or a whole piece is going to be in compound time. But for a short while, a composer may want it to appear as though simple time is actually compound time. So how do we do that? How do we make it look as though, or how do we notate 3 beats happening in the space of 2? This is what we call a triplet. And a triplet can be under any a series of notes which are the same note value. So if you look at the example on the screen, you'll see that the top example is 3 quavers grouped together with a small 3 above them. Those 3 quavers are performed in the same amount of time as 2 quavers would have been played. And 2 quavers are worth 1 crotchet. So in this case, 1 crotchet could be divided into 3. If you look at the example just below that, we're dealing with crotchets. They also have a little 3 and a bracket over them. That indicates that you need to play 3 crotchets in the space of 2 crotchets. In other words, you'll need to be able to play them in the duration of a minim.
Kulesibonelo sesizokhuluma ngesinkantathu. Siyakwazi ukuhlukaniswa ngama-value acishe efane njenge-crotchet. Athatha lesikhathi lesi bese sothatha inote elisiqi sinye. Isiqantathu suke soka ingxenye yamanothi aseke sehlanganisiwe njengoba ubona kuno number 3 phezulu kwawo. Bese akuchaza ukuthi i-value yawo iyafana nenothi elisiqi sinye.
Now let's look at some examples of these if we were actually to clap them. The first one is in 3/4. It's a simple time. That means there are 3 crotchets in the bar. I'm going to clap this particular example so that you can see how the triplets work. All right, here it comes. In this case, the triplets mean that each pulse must be divided into 3 instead of 2. Listen to it again. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, dot, 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 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you look at the second example now in 4/4 time, that's also simple time, 4 crotchets in a bar, we have a similar set of notes. This is what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, when you see the notes with a little 3 above them, it means do these 3 notes in the space of 2. Now, all music has a tempo. That means how fast it is. And most music relies on the tempo to give it its kind of character, what kind of character it will have. I'll demonstrate for you with Nkosi Sikelele. If I sang Nkosi Sikelele to you like this, Nkosi Sikelela, that would be normal. Okay, that's the normal tempo. But if I did it like this, Nkosi Sikelele Africa, you'd say, no, that's too fast, that's silly. But if I did it like this, Nkosi Sikele, you tell me, that's far too slow, it needs to be faster. So the tempo gives a piece its character. And there are many ways of indicating tempo. One of them is through a metronome marking. Now, some of you may not know what a metronome is. There's a picture of an old metronome, but you can download a metronome app on your cell phone these days, which will do exactly the same thing, and I'm going to explain what a metronome does just now. Or you can actually buy a small digital metronome, which looks a bit like a watch, like a digital watch, which you can clip on the top of your music.
Kulesibonelo lesi sobe sikhuluma ngesivinini. Isivinini sifana njengespeed. Wonke umculo unespeed sayo. Njengoba eseculile isibonelo soNkosi Sikelele. Isivinini sikala mhlawumbe ispeed njengoba ubona kule example kuno 60. Lo 60 usuke usuchaza ukuthi isuke isihamba kancane ingahambi ngespeed esikhulu imusic wesuke usuyicula. U100 usuke unyuse isivinini usuke usucula lelo culo ngespeed esisheshayo.
So what you've just been explaining now, I'll explain in English again. if you look at the picture now on the screen, you'll see that there is a crotchet and it says equals 60. This is something called a metronome marking. Basically what it means is divide a minute into 60 equal portions, and that will give you the speed of what you're dealing with. So if you divide 1 minute into 60, it's 1 second. Each note must be worth 1 second. But if you divide 1 minute into 100, it's going to be faster than a second, isn't it? So a 60 beats per minute is something like ba, 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 ba. 100 is more like ba, 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 ba. So that tells us exactly how fast the music must be. And that's how it will look. You'll have a crotchet equals a particular number. When you have a cell phone app of a metronome, it will ask you what number do you want there? Do you want it to be 60? Do you want it to be 100? Do you want it to be 140? Do you want it to be 40? And it will show you how fast that beat would be. Now, there are other ways of showing tempo indications. This next set of tempo indications is less precise or accurate, but it gives you an idea of the mood of the piece. They are usually Italian words, although you could use English or Zulu words exactly the same to indicate what kind of mood you are looking for. So let's look at them. They're on the screen at the moment. The first one, it looks like the word grave, but it doesn't mean digging a grave. It's actually pronounced grave, and that means very, very slow. The next one is lento. Lento means slowly. It's not quite as slow as grave. Largo means broadly. It's about the same meaning as lento. Lento and largo are basically the same. Adagio means slow and stately, but it's not as slow as largo. Andante means at a walking pace. Now this is a difficult one because all of us walk at a different pace. Some people walk really fast, other people walk very slowly. So you've got to find a medium walking pace to get that kind of speed. Moderato means moderate, so not too fast, not too slow. Allegro, fast, and it must be bright as well. Not just fast, but fast and bright. Vivace means lively and fast. Presto, very, very fast.
Njengoba sesikhuluma ngesivinini, uma uthatha ukubheka kulesibonelo lesi, kunenombolo ebhalwe eduze kwegama. Masingabheka nje ugrave, kuno 20 to 40 isivinini ongadlala kusona. Lezi zinto zikunika nje into ongayibheka, asithi uma usupractice umculo wakho ngespeed esiyiyona, uyabheka kule nombolo lezi ukuthi uzopractice ngasiphi speed. Njengoba sesehla ngokubheka la, uyabona ukuthi inombolo iya ngokunyuka. Lokho kusuke sekuchaza ukuthi ispeed sokudlala naso sobe sesinyuka ukudlala lelo culo.
Do you want to give the Zulu names for them?
So for ugrave, umyalelo sizotha, ubeseshilo ulento nolako kube into ecishifane, kuba umyalelo kunenza. Uadagio iba inkomba kunenza. Uadante umnenzo. Bese kuba umoderato, njengoba ngisho uma uqhubeka ukwehla kunyuka nespeed sokusho. Igcina ize ifike ku allegro usuke usudlala ngomdlandla lapho.
Now, when you are notating music, where does the tempo indication come? If you look at the screen now, you'll see that the word adagio, which means quite slow, is at the top, above the notes. And then you also get a little crotchet equals 60. So you can have the name adagio and a metronome marking, or you could just have adagio without the metronome marking, or you could just have the metronome marking on its own. So you can have several variations there, but it always comes above the music. But you'll see also in this example that below the music is an indication of how loud it should be. MP, which means mezzo piano. When you want to show how loud the piece must be, it always comes underneath the notes. So the tempo indication comes above, and the volume indication comes below.
Uma suthatha ukubheka umsindo walomculo lo odlalayo noma oculayo odlala kunoma yini uma uyohlezi ubona ngaphansi kubhala u-MP. U-MP usuke uchaza umsindo ozobe ucula noma udlala. Bese ngaphezulu kuzoba nesivinini. Lapho kuzobe kuchaza ukuthi izobe ihamba ngespeed esingakanani umculo. Uyohlezi ungaphezulu, ispeed siyohlezi esingaphezulu, umsindo wokudlala uyohlezi ungaphansi kwe-music.
And that's where we end today's video.
So